This is Filmmasters, and on this episode, I'm going to show you how I did the Death Trooper voice effect for one of the recent, or not so recent, about 6 months ago, I released a Death Trooper pack that contained 40 Death Trooper voice elements so that you can mix them around. However, I'm going to show you guys how I created that. Some guys were asking me, what or how did you do it? Can you do a tutorial? Here it is. So let's get straight into it. So first of all, I'm going to select waveform, and let's just call this Death Trooper and leave all the other features the same as default. Select OK. And here's our timeline ready to go. And first of all, when we do the Death Trooper voice, we're not really talking huge sentences. We're talking one word. We can throw in a few noises, for example. And I like to cover my voice so it sort of sounds like this when I'm doing it. So I'm going to try that, and we can see what we come up with. So let's come down and select record.
Hello, welcome. To the left. Keep going, watch out. Skywalker, yep, no.
And hit the space bar to stop it. So let's listen in and hear what we've got.
Hello, welcome. To the left. Keep going.
So there's our voice. I'm going to just clean up some of this. Might move in some of the spacing. So I'm just deleting the dead sound like so. And just cut it there. Next thing I want to do is come up to effects and amplitude and compression. Let's select dynamic processing, and I've got custom, so we'll go to default. And what I want to do is just drag this down to say -10. And when I'm happy with that, select apply. And we've got what sounds like this.
Hello, welcome. To the left. Keep going, watch out. Skywalker, yep, no.
Okay, so let's go to the first effect. I'm going to go down to time and pitch shifter. Now, obviously default, I'm going to select the default, so I've got the default range ready to go. I'm going to grab the semitone slider and drag that down to round about -10. Let's select play and listen in and hear what we've got so far.
Hello, welcome. To the left. Keep going. Watch out. Skywalker. Yep, no.
Hit apply. I'm happy with that. Let's just bump up the sound.
Hello, welcome. To the left. Keep going. Watch out. Skywalker. Yep, no.
Okay, next thing, effects, and we can come down to special and hit distortion. Or one thing I've been doing with tutorials for a while now is I sort of go through and do effects this way. However, let's go and start using the effects rack. Now, the effects rack is a good feature because what it allows us to do is we can apply effects, and if we don't like them, we can remove them from the rack. So select over here for the first one and come down to special and select distortion. And let's go to presets, select default, so it resets everything. Generally, Adobe Audition will like to save some of your last features or last presets that you've played around with. So by selecting default, we'll default it ready to go. So what we're going to do is let's press the space bar to hear what we've got.
Hello, welcome. To the left.
But what I want to do is start dragging up these right in the middle. It's about half a cube. If you highlight over it, you can see the decibels.
Keep going. Watch out. Skywalker. Yep, no. Hello, welcome. To the left. Keep going. Watch out. Skywalker.
And what I'll do is I'll press play and I'll play around with it just so I can make sure that my voice is getting closer to that sound that I'm after. So let's press play. Obviously, if your voice is not as deep as mine, then you can go up to effects and select time and pitch, stretch and pitch, and make adjustments to your voice so that it sounds deeper. But I don't need to do that. So just in case your voice is that way. So let's select the space bar and listen in to hear what we have.
Welcome. To the left. Keep going. Watch out. Skywalker.
Okay, I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to shut that down. As you can see over here, our file is there. I can right select it and remove the selected effect from the effects rack if I want, just in case I make a mistake or I decide that I've gone too far on the sound effect. Okay, one other effect we're going to do now. It's going to go up to effects here, and I'm going to select a filter and EQ and go to graphics, equalizer 10 band, and I'm going to bring it down to quick low pass filter. And as you can see, it's made those adjustments on the equalizer. Now let's select play. So what I'm doing is I'm slowly moving up the low pass in the filter and increasing the sound so that it's more in line up here. However, I want to keep these all together. Doesn't have to be 100% accurate. After all, it is a distorted effect. Now, one thing, Matthew Woods obviously is the sound designer in Skywalker Sound. And he has done voiceovers for General Grievous, for example, as well as the Clone Wars cartoons. He does a lot of vocal work for the Star Wars franchise. Now, one thing he did say, he had an interview, and in that interview, he was discussing how the voice of Kylo Ren was made. And then it was asked about the Death Trooper, and he simply said that Kylo Ren's voice is actually a Death Trooper's voice, except they run the same filters over it, but they just push it to the extreme. So that is how the Death Trooper voice has actually been created. So I'm sort of making a Kylo Ren voice, but really pushing it out so it's distorted more. So I'm going to keep on playing around with these by pressing play and listening in to what I'm correcting. And once I'm happy with that, I select apply. And finally, if we listen in, this is our Death Trooper voice, or very close to what I was creating in that sound pack. So if you listen in, this is the end result it should sound like. Okay, so now that I've got all my sounds in there, and I want to save the file as, what I need to do, first of all, is now that I'm happy with all the effects on the actual effects rack, let's say, for example, I've got 5 different other effects on there, or even one, we still need to press apply. So let's select apply, and that applies the effects. So that allows us now to go file and save as, and we can call this a Death Trooper wave file. I'm just going to allow it to save to my desktop. I might change it to an MP3, select OK, and that one single file of all these Death Trooper sound effects that we've just created has been saved. So if you want to become a Filmmaster subby, it is pretty simple. You can subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook and or on Twitter. And until next time, don't just film it, master it.